Why do the religious think their blind faith isn't blind? How many times do they have to fail in their assertions to have facts before they finally admit to the truth? I don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. We're back with Evidential University again today as our intrepid pastor tries to tell us that Christianity is based on facts, not blind faith. And of course, he has no actual facts. He's never presented a single one in any of the videos I've ever looked at, but he loves to say that he does. But these claims are fantasy, just as they are when every single other apologist spews them. And since far too many of these people are uninterested in actually putting up and certainly don't know how to shut up, we're faced with the only rational conclusion we can come to. Christianity has nothing but blind faith. Let's get this confirmed once again.
According to Dr. Miller, the faith that is spoken of in the Bible is a faith that is preceded by knowledge.
Now, I have no idea who Dr. Miller is. He never says, and I tried to do a search for Christian apologists with the last name of Miller, and I came up with a bunch. There's a Dave, there's a Jeff, there's a Brian, there's a Glenn, and probably a ton more. So, since I don't know who this Dr. Miller is, I really can't say anything about what he has to say or what its validity might be. Links in the description are always helpful, just saying.
One cannot possess biblical faith in God.
Except it isn't. The Bible is very clear about this. Hebrews 11:1, which we keep coming back to, says, "Now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see." That's not knowledge, that's wishful thinking.
Until he or she comes to the knowledge of God.
And how do you propose anyone does that? Because knowledge isn't simple belief. Now, I know the religious play word games all the time, and what they mean by knowledge isn't what rational people mean by knowledge, so I'm going to have to take a run to the dictionary, and we find out that knowledge is facts, information, and skills acquired by a person through experience or education, the theoretical or practical understanding of a subject. None of that describes anything that is even remotely possible with the Christian God, because all claims made about God are arbitrary and by definition untestable, so no one has any knowledge of God except in a literary sense, which means as little as having knowledge of Voldemort. It's all just made up.
That is, faith is not accepting what one cannot prove using different methods. Let's make it clear. Faith is not accepting what one cannot prove using different methods.
Okay, prove it. Prove anything that you have faith in. Go ahead. And he says you can use different methods, but that doesn't mean that those different methods are worthwhile. It doesn't mean that those methods produce consistently demonstrable results. Again, we can go right back to the Voldemort example and argue that we know what Voldemort is like, what he's like in reality, because we read about it in a book. But that doesn't actually prove anything. It just proves someone wrote it down. It just proves that someone might have believed this stuff over time. It doesn't prove that any of it is actually true.
The God of the Bible is a God of truth.
And you're just asserting that blindly. It's not proving anything. It's like saying Voldemort of the Harry Potter stories is a man without a nose. Okay, that's the claim. Now you need to back it up. And it's easy if you're only arguing that they're a fictional character. You can just go to the book, or in the case of Voldemort, the movies, and you can verify the claims. But Christians argue that their God is real. And then when we ask them to back it up, they've got nothing. Their standards of proof are laughable. They're little better than, I believe it, therefore it has to be true. Sorry, but it doesn't work that way any more than if the crazy flat earthers say they can prove the earth is flat, and then when asked, they say, well, we believe it, that's proof. No, it's not.
Throughout biblical history, he has stressed the need for acceptance of truth in contrast with error and falsehood.
Well, that's the claim. Now back it up. Because again, you're talking about a character in a book of mythology and you're pretending that the character is real. You can't just say, see, he's in the book, therefore everything I say is true. You actually have to prove that your fantasy character is more than just a character in a book. You have to produce evidence that he's real.
And so before we exercise faith, we come to the knowledge. We come to the evidence before we make a decision.
Knowledge and evidence that you can't show you actually have, you mean? Because you don't seem to know what either of those words mean, and your decisions are based entirely on emotions, not on facts. This is just backfilling in claims once the decision has already been made on feelings. All of these really bizarre beliefs are based on rationalizations that are not evident before the belief exists. I'm sure it makes perfect sense retroactively to these people, but beforehand, it sounds like the rantings of madmen.
And so don't let them fool you that we just walk by blind faith.
Don't let reality get in the way of your wishful thinking.
Those statements are peddled by the HS Brigade, who don't understand our faith, don't want to understand our faith, and just want to distort theology as we know it.
Actually, the only ones distorting anything is you. We are using words consistently. They mean what they mean. They don't magically change context because you want to redefine up as down and left as right. The Atheist Brigade is pointing out why you are wrong, and you just don't want to hear it. And I guess that's not really a surprise.
Thanks for watching. I am Courtesy Demand for Evidential U. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you next time.
Well, that was 3 months ago, and he hasn't made another video since. So I don't know that there will be a next time. But for as long as this guy has been around, he's only got 2 subscribers, and I'd say that makes his a failed university. I guess it doesn't matter where you go, Christian arguments don't get any better. They remain downright awful. Unfortunately, the religious can't see the terrible arguments through the religious trees. They're not concerned if what they believe is true. It feels good, so they just go with it and try to rationalize why it all makes some kind of weird sense if you squint at it just right. But it doesn't. It just doesn't. The religious are religious because they want to be, not because they have any evidence that it's actually true. That makes them fanatics, not truth seekers. Truth seekers actually care about the truth. The religious clearly do not. The religious pretend they have it, and when it's pointed out that they don't, all they can do is say, uh-huh, and uh-huh doesn't impress anyone because it's just a bald assertion made without evidence. The religious want to pretend they can prove things, but when asked directly to do so, they fail. Miserably. But that doesn't stop them from making the same claims over and over and over again, no matter how many times we prove it isn't true, because they don't really care about truth. They don't care about facts. They care that their emotional well-being is maintained, and honestly, there's something wrong with anyone who cares more about their feelings than about the real world. But that's the religious for you. Pathetic beliefs, based in fantasy, and immune to reason. What else is new?